Hi, my name is Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary aspirations who believes in living life fully alive. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me get this.
Hi, my name is Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary aspirations who believes in living life fully alive. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic.
Welcome, CEOs, co-creators of Extraordinary Outcomes to Monday Morning Magic. Yes, we are live 7:30 a.m. Monday morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic, where inspiration plus information equals transformation. Wow, I'm a little caught off guard because I did the intro and then it went to something else. So I'm just trying to get myself back on point here. As you can hear, I sound a little congested, had a cold this week. Let me get into this, right? Let me bring up this topic for today. Today, we're going to be talking about price versus cost. What's the cost of doing nothing? This is absolutely a great question. And as usual, let's get into our intros. First, the Let's Get It Done. This is for you will happen Saturday, July 15, 2023. The time is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Registration will be opening soon. I want to give you some updates and my check in. So, first, let me check in and say, how is everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing fine. I know this week has been filled with a lot of events that had happened. It's been a rainy weekend, and some people enjoy the rain, some people don't enjoy the rain. For myself, just prior to the weekend coming in, I got a little sick, and it let me tell you, you could hear the congestion in my voice is what I was saying. So I caught a cold. I believe how I caught the cold was, no, I'm an avid runner. I like to get up and exercise in the morning before I start my day. And there was a couple of days that was a little cool. But you know, when you're out there running, your pores are open, the cool air can get in. And the next thing I knew, the way I sound now is almost 90% better than the way I sounded over the weekend. Over the weekend, I could barely speak. My throat was sore. I had a lot of mucus coming out of my body, and I was like, wow. But I was happy about it. One of the reasons why I was happy is that, okay, my body is working, it's fighting off the cold, it's getting rid of what it doesn't need. And you know what? I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Um, my Harry Belafonte passed away, so R.I.P. to him. There's been some changes, um, and the way we hear or watch news. Some people are like, "Yay, we're glad that so and so is not there anymore." This and that and the other. And I don't want to get really political on here, but you know, it's what's happening in the world. And yes, we need to pay attention to what's happening in our environment. But I hope everybody else is doing well. I hope that people were able to enjoy their week from last Monday to this Monday. And again, we are doing this simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube through StreamYard. If you want to leave a comment, and let me just pull this up to illustrate to you what a comment could look like. If you give StreamYard permission to have access to your Facebook page, if you leave a comment, let me pull up the Facebook one instead. If you leave a comment, your name, your picture will come up, and your comment will come up. This is me on Facebook. This is me on YouTube, Coach B, the CEO. Again, you can reach me or subscribe to the channel, Coach B dash the CEO on YouTube. You can subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. I would greatly appreciate your support. It means everything to me to have your support and your subscription and the watchers. People who watch the replay who may not actually catch me exactly at 7:30 in the morning. So I really, really, really appreciate your support. Back to the topic, price versus cost. What's the cost of doing nothing? And I'm asking this question because what I realized is that a lot of times people use the word price and cost interchangeably, synonymously, like price and cost is one and the same. And a lot of times when people think about that in that way, they're really talking about the concept of money. And notice I use the word the concept of money because when we get into this a little bit deeper, we're going to talk about what's the difference between price and cost and a metaphorical aspect versus a monetary aspect. So price and cost are used interchangeably. A lot of times when it's used interchangeably, people are thinking about money, monetization, money, monetize, whatever language you want to use. And price is what the seller is asking for. So I have a product, let's say I have a coffee, you want the coffee, so I made the coffee, I got the beans, and what do they do with beans now to make coffee? I brew the beans, and I do what needs to be done for the beans to have the coffee, right? Because you can't drink beans, right? So you have to brew the beans and liquefy it and get the coffee. And so when I think about the product that's being sold, I'm thinking about what did I put into the product? What's the outcome of the product? What's the value of the product? And there is set a price. So when we go to the store, we buy our groceries, we go to the store, we buy our clothing, we go turn on a light switch in our home, we got the Con Edison or whatever your utility company is, there's an exchange. There's a product that the seller sells, and we pay a price. So the cost is what am I paying? The price is what am I being charged, and the cost is what I'm paying. And this works in the money thing, product, exchange for money. I now have the product, you now have my money. Right? We have a product, the seller has the money. But most of the time, why that exchange happens is because there's a value placed on the product. So it is ironic that you could go to a store and see a product and the price would be $3.99. That same product somewhere else could be $4.99 or $2.99. The price can fluctuate, the price can change. But why is that? The price changes based on other variables that we, the consumer, are not taking into consideration. But the person that has the product are taking in various variables to think about what the price is. And based on that, there's a cost. Now, on the other end of that, the person might go I see there's somebody observing, watching. Hey, use the link, chime in. I appreciate you showing up. So on the other end, the cost, what I pay, what you pay, I might decide, you know what? I don't want to pay the $3.99. I'm gonna walk a couple of extra blocks so that I can save that dollar and pay $2.99 for it. Or I might go, you know what? It doesn't make a difference what I pay for it. What I pay for it, I'm going to pay what the asking price is. And that's all well and good. But I want to take this beyond the money, the monetization, and I want to look at the cost as we talk about it in a metaphorical concept. So, price as tangible. Again, that is the money. That is the money. This is what the charge is. This is what the fee is. The fee is $5,000. And I'm just throwing out a number. There's something that you want that costs $5,000. I have no idea what that is, but I'm just putting the price out there. And in your mind, you go, well, do I have enough money to pay $5,000 for this particular item? Now, for one person, this item might have so much value, they would pay for it whether it costs $5,000 or $10,000. They will pay for it. No problem, because the product has value to them. But the flip side of that is, what's the cost if you don't pay for this item that is of value or of service to you? And this is primarily where I want to hang my hat per se and talk about this at some length. What's the cost? So I'll use my experience, right? My professional experience, and I'll use my personal experience, and I'll also use my what we call academic experience as it relates to this. So I remember going to school, going to college, and getting the receipt for how much this my education will. What's the price for the education? And in my mind, I was thinking, I don't have the money to pay for all of this. I don't have the finances to pay for all of this. And yet, at the same time, I didn't have, and I want to make sure I phrase this right, I didn't have time to waste by not, something just fell. I didn't have the time to waste to not pay for the education. So my course, what would be the loss if I didn't have the education? What would be the cost if I didn't have the education? So I had to weigh it out. Well, financially, monetarily, it's going to cost X, Y, and Z for me to get this level of education. What is the cost? What will be the loss if I don't invest in my education? And what I realized that sometimes the cost is greater than the price. Let me say that one more time so people don't miss it. Sometimes the cost is greater than the price. Sometimes the cost is greater than the price. So there's one thing, like I said, this example, I don't know what it is. Something that costs $5,000. And I go Well, I don't have $5,000. I cannot pay the price of $5,000 to get this particular item. But then when I go home and I kind of reflect on it and I weigh out the pros and cons of this item, let's say it is for educational purposes, an acting class, an investment on learning how to build a website, an investment on a marketing campaign, an investment on personal development. I go, oh, I don't have $5,000. That price is too much. And then I go, I reflect, I weigh the pros and cons. And I go, you know what? What's the cost here? Is it going to be a loss of time? Is it going to be a loss of energy? Is it going to be a loss of growth for me? So what do I mean? Do I pay the $5,000, maybe make a payment plan, do whatever I need to do, and make the investment so that later on I'll have a return on my investment because I've minimized the cost? What do I mean? The world is changing. And you know what they say, if you don't keep up, you're going to be left behind. So there is a cost to being left behind. There is a cost to being left behind. So I started off by saying, paying attention to the news, watching what's going on. And let me give you another insight to what happened this week. Prior to me catching a cold, I went to Bed Bath and Beyond. And if you live in New York City, because I realize people are listening to this from different places in the world, but if you live in New York City or New York State, Bed Bath and Beyond is a pretty good store. And I don't know all the ins and outs of their financial situation, but I do know I'm watching the news. It comes up on the news, that Bed Bath and Beyond is shuttering. Right? They're shuttering their business. They're getting ready to close their business. And of course, I want to go to Bed Bath and Beyond. It's one of my, favorite stores to buy different items. I shop there frequently, so I got mixed emotions. What's the mixed emotions? I'm sad that the store is closing, and yet at the same time, let me see if there's something of value there that I could purchase. And lo and behold, I get into the store. The store was crowded, a whole lot of people there. And so customers are talking to one another and they're saying, well, what's on sale? What's on sale? I want to get a big ticket item. I want to catch this sale. Then other people are saying, well, hardly nothing is on sale. They made an announcement, things are going to be on sale, things are not on sale. Maybe they misspoke, whatever happened. But this is my experience that I'm sharing with you, a real life experience. So as I'm going through the store, I'm looking for items that I could possibly use. Like I said, I'm a frequent customer of Bed Bath and Beyond, and I know that I want to go back there, right? I would go back there if it was open, but knowing that it was closing, I said, well, let me go there and let me see what I can get because that opportunity won't be there. So I go in, and while I'm in the store, I have a rush of emotions that come over me. And what happened was sentiment came up. I started thinking about all the times that I had been in that store. I started thinking about the items that are currently in my home that I purchased, or the last thing I purchased, like I said, frequent customer. And I was like, wow, I'm really going to miss this store. Why am I going to miss the store? I love the products, the accessibility, and the convenience. Now, what's the cost? Because like I said, the cost and the price, two different things. By the store closing, what's the cost? The cost for me as a consumer, now I need to identify another store that have similar products of similar value that I can purchase. And when I started thinking about that, I was like, wow, you know, we lost Kmart, we lost Bed Bath and Beyond, and there's a number of stores in my neighborhood or within the radius that are closing. And these are stores, again, that I shop at. What's important to me? I could touch the item, I could feel the item, I could compare it to another item, opposed to online shopping. But the stores are disappearing. Doesn't mean that other stores are not opening up, but my history is with those stores. Now, this is in my generation, this is in my time, so this is the impact for me. Sometimes we don't pay for things because we think the price is too high, and we think that the item, the product, is always going to be around. And we take it for granted that things will always be here. That's a cost. When I take something for granted, thinking that, oh, I can do it later, right? I can do it later and not do it now because it's going to be around in another month or two. Not so much. Not so much. There's been times that I wanted to purchase something, and because I was thinking about what the monetary price would be, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it later. Only to realize that when later came, the item was no longer there. Did the item have some kind of value? Of course it did. Did I miss out on the value? Of course I did, because it's no longer present. So what happens for us is that sometimes we think more about the monetary price of an item or a product or a thing, and we forget about the cost of what's the cost of it? What happens if the item is no longer there? What's the price, what's the cost that I'm paying by delaying and putting something off? You know how we like to procrastinate. I'll get it later. I'll do it later. What's the cost? Because we're allowing the money, the price, to be the only consideration in creating a choice for ourselves. Let me say that again. What are you, right? What's the future cost of not meeting your goals because you're more concerned about the price of a thing versus the cost of a thing? What is the cost? What is the loss of not having the thing? Again, I'll go back to my education. What was the cost of not having an education? What is the cost of not paying for something that I need, something of value, and putting it off? How does that impact my ability to reach my goals? I know I need something. I'm looking at the price of it, not thinking about the cost of it, meaning what's the value of this thing? I'm looking at the money first and not the cost. And the cost is what? If I know that I need something, I'm not talking about a whole lot of wants, right? I know that I need something that's going to take me to the next level. I want to take an acting class because I want a career in acting. I need to take a writing class because you know what? I want to get better at copyright. I need to take take a martial arts class or making up stuff, right? Because I want to get better at defending myself. But I'm looking at the sticker price. I'm looking at the price tag, and I don't do it. I don't do it because I'm looking at the price tag opposed to the cost. What's the value? How is this going to improve my life? How is this going to help me reach my goal? What's the value here? What's the intangible value here? If I take up the writing class and I learn something, then my copyright becomes better. I'm able to do it quicker. I'm clearer in my writing. I take up the acting class and I learn a skill that I didn't have before, and it makes my acting much better. I take a course in personal development because there's some areas in my life that I need improvement on. Do you weigh both the price and cost in creating your goals? As I mentioned earlier, sometimes what can happen for individuals, they look at the price tag, and I just gave you some examples. Look at the price tag and not think about the cost, the intangible. How is this going to improve something versus what I perceive as a loss in terms of money? If I look at cost as an investment, there's going to be a return on my investment. What am I going to get from this if I invest in myself? Sometimes the cost is more valuable than the price. The cost can be twofold, and I'm kind of in with this. The cost can be twofold. The cost could be a return on my investment, things get much better, or the cost is I lose out on so much because I didn't invest in myself. I didn't invest in my goal. I was so concerned about the price tag. How much, what's the price here, that I didn't think about the cost. What will it cost me metaphysically, right? Metaphorically, what will it cost me not to do it? That is a great question. What will it cost me not to do it? And what will it cost me to do it? What would be the return on my investment? So the two coaching questions for today is, what's the future cost of not meeting your goal? There's something that you want to do. You're so busy looking at the price tag that you're not looking at the cost of not getting it done. Do you weigh both the price and the cost in creating your goals? Because they are equally important. Not the price over cost, but price and cost. Okay, this is what the price tag is. What's the cost if I do it? What's the cost if I don't do it? Listen, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Again, we would love to get our subscriber rate up. So if you can subscribe to the channel, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Just as a reminder, yes, the Let's Get It Done, July 15th, Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Registration open soon. And let me just give you one more update that I forgot. The website is coming along greatly. We've had some setbacks, but again, I'm looking at the bigger picture, right? I'm looking at what will the website Once it's up and running and functioning to my liking, what would that do in the end? So I'm putting a return on my investment, right? I'm putting in the time and the energy because I want to be able to serve people, individuals, well, and organizations. Not let me not forget about the organization. If I get a little tongue tied, it's okay. But this has been your Monday Morning Magic. Like, share, leave a comment. I'm so interested in hearing some feedback from you guys. What are you getting from Monday Morning Magic? What did you get from this topic? What is standing out for you? I would love to hear back from you. Until next Monday, enjoy your day.